So in today's video, I will be talking about my breastfeeding journey and all that good stuff. Everything that I've learned so far as a first-time mommy. And I'm so glad I have you guys to share this experience with. I get a good amount of DMs about breastfeeding tips, first-time mommy and such. So I try my best to reply. So I feel like making a little vlog about it is way easier. I did post on my story to ask me questions. So we'll be going down that list. Right now, baby Emily is down for her nap. I'm just trying to get as much done while she's down for her nap. So let's get right to it. So the first question, and the question I get asked a lot. Why are you ending your breastfeeding journey? I feel like it is so hard to end it. I love breastfeeding. From day one, we didn't latch. She went right to NICU. I didn't see her till a few hours after I gave birth. They were just giving her formula. But as soon as they switched me from like labor room to my room, the lactation consultant came. She said pump every 2 hours for 20 minutes. And I was like, okay. I was like, what do I do? She literally just gave them to me and she told me like how to do it. And then my nurse, she was like, no, don't do 2 hours, do 3 hours. After that, I did 3 hours, 20 minutes. And from that day on, I did that for a whole like 2 months. Around the clock, morning, day, night. I was pumping every 3 hours. There was no more such thing as sleep. It was just taking naps. I had gave myself in the beginning, I said at 5 months I would stop. We're already going on 6 months. Baby Emily is gonna be 6 months in a week. I was like looking at my calendar. Literally a week, guys. That is insane. Like, that's like beyond me. Like, anyway, don't want to get emotional. But I told myself at 5 months. I've been weaning off since she was like 4-ish months. I wouldn't pump as often. I would pump like every 5 hours or so. So ever since 4 months to now, which we're almost at 6 months, I'll like alternate. So for a while I was doing pump every like 5 hours, and then I switched it up and I was like, I'm only gonna pump every 7 hours. And then after that, I like just started increasing it, going longer and longer. I didn't like go from one day to the next, like I'm just stop. I was preparing myself for this moment and I didn't want to engorge. I didn't want to get a clogged duct because I've had mastitis before, which I'll get into later. So I've had mastitis before once. After that, I learned my lesson, guys. Never again did I get it, thankfully. So I've been weaning off since she was like about 4 months, little by little. Now I only pump twice a day. I only pump in the mornings and at night, so as soon as I wake up. And then right before going to bed, about a week ago when I started pumping every 12 hours, I was getting 16 ounces. So this week I have only got every pump about max 8-ish ounces, maybe 10. If I'm still gonna get that amount day and night, I don't think I'm gonna completely cut off breastfeeding. I'm still gonna do morning and night from 8 to twice a day. Guys, I will take the pumping just 2 times a day. Now that I'm slowing down on breastfeeding, I do have a big freezer stash. I believe that one will last me about 2 months. Started my stash, I would pump out 8 ounces at one point. So one bottle I would give it to her and the other like 4 ounces I would freeze. So she's always only drank 4 ounces at a time. So it was just easier for me to feed her 4 ounces and then stash the other 4 ounces. And I know for the good 2 months that I was keeping my stash, I have a bottle for every time. So that's why I'm saying I'm good for at least 2 months. So that should last me about, I believe, like 8 months or so till she's 8. And even now she's gonna start like eating food. So now it's just gonna make it easier. I do have formula as well. I've been sucking up on formula. I'm not like, oh my gosh, give me all the formula, you know? But I do have like a good stash that I buy here and then just for the future, because you never know. I feel like postpartum comes with so much, so many emotions, so much going on with your body, with your baby, with your relationships, with everything all around. And I feel like breastfeeding, like you have to be so strong-minded for it. If you can choose one breast pump, which one would it be? If I could pick one, I would pick the Spectra. I have them here because I just pumped in the morning. I need to use them at least once a day to get everything out. You get a question, why do you have 2 and not 1? If you use one pump for both of your boobs, the suction is not as good because it's dividing the suction. So if you use 2, one for each boob, each has its own suction and it's using like all the power, you know. The only reason I do not choose Mom Cozy as my like everyday, because that one's like a more, when you're on the go, I don't think that's like a all day 24/7 pump, at least for me. But that pump literally is my savior, my everything. I love that pump. Mom Cozy for the win. How do I wash my Mom Cozy pumps on the go? I feel like wherever you go, there's gonna be a restroom. I'll just like wash them. I'll clean my hands, make sure the area is clean. I'll rinse them out with water, dry them with a paper towel. I'm not cleaning it like this every day, you know? So if I'm on the go, I work with what I have, what I can, and just make it happen. Did you breastfeed or exclusively pump? For me, breastfeeding is pumping. So when people ask me this question, I'm like, I breastfeed, but I feel like breastfeeding is pumping and latching. So I'm like, because you're still feeding from your breast. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm exclusively pumping when it comes to breastfeeding is the answer. I did not latch like right when she was born. We latched at home and I latched her a few times, but there was this one time where she bit me and I was like, I cannot imagine when she gets teeth. I'm like, so it ends here. Like, she was not having it. How do you keep your milk supply up? Staying hydrated is the number one. I feel like the first 2 months, at least to me, this is my experience. Everybody is different, guys. Remember that. Do your research. Different things are for different people. 2 first months were the most critical, where you have to like keep up a schedule. Like when I gave birth, every like 30 minutes it'd come and like give me a big old jug of water. How often should you pump right after you give birth? This is a controversial question. There's a lot of people who are like, no, you shouldn't even be pumping the first 2 weeks, or you shouldn't even pump right after giving birth. I gave birth at about 5 o'clock and I pumped by like 10 p.m. Ever since then, it was just a set schedule. Will electric pumps work better than manual? I never used the manual, guys. Shout out to the moms who do the little hakas, because I could never. I feel like that's so much work just sitting there. Imagine for like 10-20 minutes and then feeding. No. How do you know how long your milk lasts in the fridge, and how do you keep up with it? CDC rules. At the hospital, the nurse in NICU was super helpful. She's the one that gave that. Send me the picture. Let me see if I have it. Oh yeah, it's right here. It tells you like if it's in the fridge, in the freezer, how long, how many days. At first I did go by these rules, and after a while my mom was like, girl, I never went by those rules and you guys are perfectly fine. I would just keep it out for like 4 to like 8 hours max. I will go by the smell. You could smell like rotten milk, guys. It tastes, I mean, it smells nasty, and I also taste it. You guys feel more safe, go by the CDC rules. I have not. Do you have moments where your supply was higher or lower? If so, what caused it? Around 3-4 months when I wasn't pumping enough, and then I caught myself. I was like, I'm not making as much. So then I went back to like pumping every 3-4 hours, and I was now pumping like every 6 hours. So then I went back up, and it took a day or 2 to go back to producing more milk. What are your special bags for the freezer? So to store milk, we tried all bags: purple bag, the yellow bag, the blue bag. Literally all of them at Target. We used all of them. None have had an issue, but every time I pour it out, I make sure like I put them in a bowl. Or when I put them in the fridge, I put them in a bowl to defrost. How did you manage pumping and going out for long periods of time? I would take my pumps with me. I would make sure if I'm going out, I'll pump right before leaving. I'll take the pumps with me and then pump on the way back home. Yeah, the Mom Cozy is amazing and helped a lot with it. How did you pick the Mom Cozy pump? I'd seen it on TikTok, and then Laura had also told me about it. She's like, you should try it. I really liked it. So then I was like, let me go buy it. Marcus bought it for me ASAP. How do you pump to feed that day? Also build a freezer stash. So when I built my freezer stash, it was like the first 3 months. January 6th, which was like the second week I gave birth, every 3 hours, I was only stashing like from 1 ounce to 3 ounces, but mainly I seen like 1.5 ounces on there. 4 months and forward, I didn't really focus on building a stash. She was drinking way more often, especially throughout the day. At night, she'll only have 2 feedings. How do you manage going places when baby needs to eat? So first I'll feed her before leaving, and then I'll pump and take those. I'll usually have like 2 bottles ready to go. Also have formula to go just in case. Once these 2 bottles are over, I'll have my Mom Cozies, and then I'll just pump as soon as she finished that last bottle. Can you go through your pumping schedule from the time you started to now? So in the beginning, she was born up to 2 months. It was every 3 hours. No matter if I made just 3 ounces or 8-10 ounces, I was pumping every 3 hours. After 2 months, say 4 hours, and then I got mastitis. So no one told me that I had to slow down. So I was overproducing. I didn't know, and I wish I knew, and I would have avoided it. But I would just use like cooling pads. I would use cabbage, a little massager. I'd go in the shower and run like really hot water on my boobs. Once I got mastitis, then I switched over pumping every 2 hours, but for 10 minutes. After that, then I went back to pumping every 4 hours, 20 minutes. Up until like 4 months or so, I would feed her, pump, and then what I got from that pump, that bottle would go to her next feeding. And then it turned into, after 4 months, I was just pumping every time she was eating. Me highlight on Instagram. I'd write little stories and put them on there as I went. If you have questions, go on my mommy highlights. It'll be easier to understand and it's on paper. Does your thawed breast milk have a metallic taste? My baby didn't want my thawed breast milk stash. Luckily, Emily does not care what kind of milk it is. I could always mix it with fresh breast milk. Sometimes I even put formula in there. So it said settings on your mom cozy. I'll start from 2, then I go to 3 and then 4. And then I'll go back between 3 and 4. Thankfully, never had cut nipples. Ever. In the first 2 months, I did put a lot of nipple cream on there. So I need tips for helping my supply go up. Having a consistent schedule has worked for me. Do you feel you are gaining weight after breastfeeding? No, I am the opposite. I lost so much weight, guys. Now that I'm stopping breastfeeding, I believe my weight is gonna come back. I worry that you won't have enough milk for baby in the long run. No, I do not worry. I'm preparing for the time I do run out of breast milk. I just made sure I wouldn't set up myself for failure and I wouldn't stress it. Do you take any vitamins? I only take my prenatal. I'm gonna look into other vitamins, maybe to supplement them. Were you on a strict schedule for the first 2 or 3 months? Yes. How did you organize your freezer stash? Just went in like last week when I knew I was gonna start using it. Up top when I have January, all of February, and the bottom I have March, April, and May. And for June, I don't think I have any stash. How did you go from pumping so much to only twice a day? It's been 2 months process. It was like every 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, and now it's every 12 hours, all in a span of 2 months. I timed it myself. I was just seeing like how much my boobs could take. It didn't go from night to day or like 1 month to the next month. Did you pump before she arrived for colostrum? No, I did not, but I don't think I would do it. I feel like pumping is already a long process. I'm not gonna start before. Love all your breastfeeding advice. I wanted to ask if you ever felt discouraged on breastfeeding. Yes, so many times. I remember in the first few months I was like, I'm over this, I don't want to do this anymore, but I'm so glad I kept going. How does freezer stash work? I'm new to this. What are the dates for? According to CDC guidelines, frozen milk is only good for like 6 to 12 months depending how deep it is in the freezer. So that's why I do the dates. That's why I organize like January, February on top, because it is almost July, so I'm already using January and I have to use it up before like July, whatever date it is. Did you get flank sizing? Sized me at the hospital. The lactation consultant came and she's like looking at me and then she's like, oh, I think you're a 24, and then she just gave me the 24. What can I do if one day I pump up to 3 ounces, the next day just 1 ounce per session? I feel like don't stress it. Hydrate. So every time I was pumping, I would at least drink 1 body armor or like 1 big cup of water, just so I knew I was getting enough hydration. How do you warm up her breast milk from the fridge, or do you give it to her cold? From day 1, we have never ever warmed up her milk. We'll just leave it out room temperature and give it to her like that. If it comes from the fridge, which right now I'm just getting it from the freezer, thawing it in the fridge, putting it in a bottle, and then putting it in the fridge. So at night I'll give her those. When she's done with 1 bottle at night, I'll come downstairs, I'll grab the one from the fridge, and then I'll put it in the room. Her next feeding is like every 3 to 4 hours, which the milk is still good at room temperature, and by then it is warmer. It's not that cold. But no, we never give her really cold bottles out of the fridge. If not, I'll just warm it up on the stove. Are you stopping breastfeeding at 6 months, or you go up to a year? I think I'm gonna just keep going. If I'm pumping twice a day and I'm still getting milk, I'm just go as long as I can. Did your boobs grow, stop growing, shrink? Both, before and after. In the beginning I was like, the girlies are looking good. As soon as I would pump, they would go down, and now I'm scared that they're just gonna look like really flat. How did you manage to set a schedule, pump every 3 hours with a newborn? I went based on her schedule. Luckily, she was on a 3-hour schedule. I feel like if she was like on a 2-hour schedule, then I would pump every 2 hours, but 10 minutes. So she was 3 hours, I only did 20 minutes. It was super tough. I wouldn't sleep. It was just baby naps. Marcus would help me, so like he would feed her and then I would pump at the same time. What was your strategy in storing milk? What went into the freezer? What was for feeding? I would make sure I had enough for her next feeding. I would leave 4 ounces, and whatever was left of the 4 ounces is what I would stash. Did you get any help on breastfeeding? My hospital sucked. Kaiser Permanente. I've also heard Kaiser is really bad right now. I've heard so many bad reviews on them. I did not have Kaiser. Thankful that I had amazing lactation consultants. I had 2 different ones, like obviously different shifts. If you guys hear that, it's Emily playing. They would come in and check on me, how pumping is going, if I want to go feed the baby, if I try to latch, and so on. So they were really good, and I'm thankful for that help. What do you use to clean your mom cozies while on a road trip? I said it previously, like there's always restroom stuff at the restroom, and the sink, it might not be the cleanest. Maybe rinse it and then with the baby wipes just go over it, or like there's pacifier wipes. There's also wipes for your breast pumps. Does your breast get extremely full and hurt from breastfeeding less? No. Thank goodness it does not. I feel like just being consistent and like slowing down little by little has helped. What cooler do you use to store your milk on the go? It's a Louis Bebe. It's an insulated snack bag. I would just put my milk in there and it would keep it cool. You could also put like ice in an insulated bag so it doesn't go bad. Not a question, but I admire you so much, and my baby is 3 months and your videos and advice helped me a lot. Thank you so much for that. I am so glad that I get to help you guys, and the advice that I'm giving you guys is really helpful. That literally warms my heart and makes me feel like I'm doing a good job, and that like my videos mean something and are actually helping you guys, you know? Like, it is so meaningful to read stuff like that. It makes my heart so happy. Don't stress it, guys. I'm pretty sure your baby doesn't care what they eat, what they drink. As long as they're eating, they're being healthy, and you're being the greatest mom that you are. They are thankful for that. I know stress is a big factor in breastfeeding. For me, it was whenever I stressed, I wasn't producing enough. And I know like getting stuff around the house done, taking care of a baby is so much. So every day I try to tackle a different task. Like Monday, like laundry day. Monday, I'll just do laundry. And then Tuesday, I'm like, I'm gonna clean out the closet. Tuesday, I'll clean out the closet. So it's like every day I set one task for me. I feel like if not, I'm gonna be all over the place, not gonna get anything done. And so far that has worked for me, thankfully. If not, nothing's gonna get done. Yeah, guys, I try to answer most of your questions. If not, my DMs are always open. I try to reply to as many people as I can. And I really hope this video was informative to you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for all the support. I'm so thankful that I get to help you guys. I love this mommy journey. I love sharing it with you guys. Being a mommy is something I've always wanted for me. I'm so glad that many of us share that experience. Always DM me, they're open. Love reading it, love replying to you guys. Thank you guys so much. And here, hold on. I was about to change it, but I kind of unzipped it. But yeah, guys. You should happy baby. You guys are here. It'll randomly go down and just randomly go up, but it's going down a little bit. Thank you guys so much for all the love you guys show us. Alright, guys, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and say bye. See you guys in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.